by Amir Orati, is that correct pronunciation? Yeah, Amir and his colleagues are from University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. I think all of your colleagues are from the same university. Oh, okay, yeah, and you are based in different departments, right? You're from Department of Geography, and you have colleagues from authors from Department of, yeah. So that's great. And the presentation is on examining journey to overdose using spatial social network analysis. Thank you.
Journey to overdose using a spatial social network analysis as a novel framework to study geographic discordance in overdose death. So this is a collaboration between University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Wisconsin Department of Health Services, and Medical College of Wisconsin to address the opioid crisis in the state of Wisconsin. So there were an estimated over 100,000 drug overdoses in the United States in 2021, an increase of about 30% from 2020. Of all of these drug overdoses, about 76% involve prescription or illicit opioids. So that's what we call opioid overdose. And drug overdose remains a leading cause of injury-related deaths in the United States, and 209 people die every day because of overdose involving prescription and illicit opioids. As you can see on this chart, the trend of drug overdose deaths in the United States is upward, and it's getting worse by year. And in our case study, state, Wisconsin, the numbers are going up as well. And in 2020, we had over 16,000 drug overdose deaths in Wisconsin. In this study, we are mainly focusing on the county of Milwaukee. Milwaukee County is the most segregated county in the United States, and it makes it a unique case study for investigating opioid crisis in Milwaukee, in a city that is the most segregated city in terms of racial composition in the United States. So we are going to focus on a part of overdoses that, to the best of our knowledge, has never been analyzed. And we call it geographic discordance. It means when an individual travels from its residence to another location and commit overdose, we call that geographically discordant overdose. And it makes up of about 26% of all overdoses. So about 75% of overdoses are happening in the residence of the individual, and about 25% are happening in another location than residence of that individual. And we call that geographically discordant overdose. And so people from neighboring counties, the dark one is Milwaukee County. People from neighboring counties travel to Milwaukee County and commit overdose, and also people from different neighborhoods inside Milwaukee County travel to other places, other neighborhoods, and commit overdoses. On average, 24 kilometers of travel and on median, 8 kilometers of travel, or 11 minutes of travel between residence and overdose location. This is on average in Milwaukee County from 2017 and 2020. So in criminology, we have a concept called journey to crime. So the distance or duration traveled from an offender's residence to the crime location is known as journey to crime in criminology. So inspired by criminology, we are defining journey to overdose. So journey to overdose as a difference between drug overdose descendant residence and overdose incident location. Journey to overdose is not just a measure of having to travel to consume drug and commit overdose. It means receiving drugs and overdosing in a socioeconomically different area or localities with varying norms, cultures, with different spatial accessibility to healthcare resources that are provided by Department of Health, which might impact overdose rates. So this is the first known study to examine the journey to overdose, and we are proposing a novel framework to study journey to overdose based on spatial social networks. We have three goals to address in this research. First, to pinpoint focal points of geographically discordant overdoses incidents and original residents. Two, to unveil imported and domestic hotspots of drug overdoses. If an individual is not from your neighborhood and coming to your neighborhood and coming overdose, that's imported overdose. And if the neighborhood is exporting overdose, meaning that individual from that neighborhood is going to other neighborhoods and commit overdose, that means exporting an overdose. And domestic overdose meaning that if an individual is from the same neighborhood that commit overdose. And the third goal of the study is to investigate differentiating demographic and involved drug characteristics of geographically discordant and non-discordant overdoses. Is there any significant differentiator between geographically discordant and non-discordant overdose? So we built a social network of journey to overdoses. In the social network, nodes are neighborhoods, edges are journey to overdoses. Then we mapped our social network to make it a spatial social network. So this is what we call a spatial social network. Census tracts are considered as neighborhoods and are the nodes. And all the edges or lines that you can see on this map are the journey to overdoses. Then, in order to achieve the first goal of the study, to pinpoint focal points of geographically discordant overdoses, incident, and original residents, we used an algorithm that has been used by search engines in social networks called hyperlink-induced topic search. So search engines use this algorithm to divide nodes, websites, into hubs and authorities of information. For example, in the context of academic publication network, review articles are the hubs that can lead us to authoritative sources of information. So this algorithm call review articles a hub for authoritative information. And original papers that are getting cited by well-structured review articles are being called authorities. For example, here, node A on the left is authority. It's being cited by other nodes. And A on the right side is a hub that is sending edges out. For example, this is the map of internet based on hyperlink-induced topic search, and these are the hubs of internet. Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and YouTube are the hubs of internet that can lead us to authoritative information. This algorithm has been improved and widely used in a wide range of applications, including bioinformatics, education, economics, but it has never been used in epidemiology or spatial social networks. So this is the result of HIT's algorithm. So these are the authorities or importers of the overdoses. And this map shows the hubs or exporter of the overdoses. To provide some context, we obtained the demographic information of hubs and authorities to provide some context. So individuals from predominantly white neighborhoods, 71% white neighborhoods, are traveling to predominantly Hispanic neighborhoods, which they are a lot younger, significantly younger in terms of median age, significantly less educated, 11% education attainment in comparing to 16% in white neighborhoods, significantly poorer with lower median household income. So individuals from white neighborhoods are going to Hispanic neighborhoods, which are younger, poorer, and less educated, and commit overdose. And this is the demographic and socioeconomic characteristics of hubs and authorities of overdoses in Milwaukee County. So in order to unveil the important and domestic hotspots of drug overdoses, we first conducted a hotspot detection for a spatial social network algorithm called EdgeScan. So usually in GIS, all the hotspot analysis are looking for points and find a kernel in which most of the points are located, and then call that a hotspot. So here we are looking for edges, not the nodes. So edges are journey to overdoses. So these are lines between 2 points. So we create a kernel and pass through the Milwaukee County, and these are the areas in which edges are in the highest number, which means that it returns the hotspot where nodes are not only densely located, but also connected. It means that these neighborhoods that are hotspot of journey to overdoses are connected to each other, are sending, exporting, and importing overdoses to each other. Then we wanted to see the time, add the element of time to our analysis and see where are the new hotspots of journey to overdoses, where are the consecutive hotspots of journey to overdoses over time, analyze it in a temporal manner. We conducted emerging hotspot analysis using ArcGIS Pro to see that where are the new hotspots are located. Most of them are in vicinity or surrounding the Hispanic neighborhoods. Milwaukee County is the hyper-segregated city, so it's here, this area is Hispanic neighborhoods, this area are African-American neighborhoods, and along the shoreline is white neighborhoods. And new hotspots of journey to overdoses are forming near consecutive hotspots in African-American neighborhoods and Hispanic neighborhoods. So to achieve the third goal, to investigate the differentiating demographic and involved drug characteristics of geographically discordant and not discordant overdoses, we disaggregated all of the drug overdoses by mode of death, if it's undetermined, accidental, suicidal, or homicidal, by drug evident in toxicology report of overdose death, by gender, by race, and by age. And then we conducted a statistical significance test to see which of these variables are significant to differentiate between geographically discordant and non-discordant overdoses. Turns out that journey to overdoses or geographically discordant overdoses are a lot less suicidal and involve fentanyl, cocaine, and amphetamine significantly higher, which can indicate or which can suggest that individuals are traveling to consume these three certain drugs, fentanyl, cocaine, and amphetamine. They don't want to suicide, and the average age is significantly younger. So younger population, in order to procure fentanyl, cocaine, and amphetamine, travel and commit overdose. So these are the significant differentiator between discordant and non-discordant overdoses. So these are the references so far. This collaboration has yielded 3 papers about the opioid overdose crisis in Wisconsin and Milwaukee County. And thank you so much for your attention.
Interdisciplinary. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. It's so compelling and I liked it a lot. But my question for you, especially given the groups, the people that you collaborate with, medical school, Department of Public Health, when you're putting together and you're publishing on these methods you've developed and the results, to whom do they serve beyond just those institutions? Because there's a risk, I would say, if you have emerging hotspots, importing, exporting the journey of the overdose, you've identified so far African-American communities and Hispanic communities. If you then get public health officials or law enforcement into those communities, is it any different than inflicting more structural violence in places like that might already have many vulnerabilities to local governments or what have you?
That's an excellent point. And in this conference, we talked about actionable data and trying to make our analysis actionable. We have community partners in both neighborhoods. Our community partner name is With Hope, which is an active community organization in Milwaukee County focusing on providing health services to opioid crisis victims in Wisconsin. And we are communicating all of our results with our community partners, and we try to make our findings as actionable as possible. We have meetings with aldermen in Milwaukee County, with Department of Health, with Mayor Office, and also Foundation for Opioid Response efforts. And we try to be as actionable as possible. That makes sense.
Thank you. While you're thinking, I will jump in to ask one quick question. So you have one slide on the analysis of hotspot, the journey to overdose. That's the distance. Yeah, I think this is the one. This hotspot detection, you have the social network, and the link is the journey to overdose. Is that a distance, or is it something, some other measure?
So it's not distance, it's the distance on network. So if two census tracts are connected to each other, we don't consider the network, we don't consider the distance, we just consider the connection on the network. So no, distance is not involved.
So it's just a matter of whether or not these two are connected.
True journey to overdose. If one of these neighborhoods have sent overdose to another one or not.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. So now your map has some hotspots, but it's just one. That network, if it's you're emphasizing the connection, is between a pair of nodes. But the visualization is about one individual. Each one of them is visualized individually and measured individually. So I wonder how that works.
So how many of journey to overdoses are coming and going out of each of these census tracts?
So either end of it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question? Well, thank you. That concludes all our presentations. But as we said before, some of our presentation didn't have enough time for questions. So now it's opening up for questions for any of our presenters. 4 presentations today. Any question at all? Yes, you are eager for what we are, eager for the coffee break. All right, thank you. Bye. Well,